Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jump Up Supercast, the only podcast that endorses Randy Pitchford's magic tricks. I'm your host for this week, Muzzy, and joining me today we've got Brandon.
Right in my hometown of Boston, too. What a beautiful time.
And Ills.
I'm playing as a siren. Everybody get out of my way.
All right. So, couldn't tell. We're going to be talking a lot about Borderlands. But before then, how are you guys doing today?
Oh, doing really good. I was not at PAX East today, but I will be there in a couple days.
Ooh, so maybe you can give us some impressions, hands-on impressions next week.
I definitely will. There's going to be a lot of games that I'm going to be playing, so I'll let you know what I play and what games are good.
Cool. So I'm looking forward to it. Well, with that, shall we get started? And since we're on topic of PAX East, we're on topic of Randy Pitchford, let's just get right to it, right? Borderlands 3 was announced today.
Woo. Yeah!
Now, before we talk about the game itself, I do have a little bit to talk about how they announced this game. Did either of you watch the stream?
No. But we heard like bad things about it. Like the frames per second was really bad.
Yeah,
something about the wiring of PAX is kind of shit or something like that.
So let me get through this. So Randy Pitchford, for about like 5 to 10 minutes, goes over the teaser trailer they put out for Borderlands 3. Like as if he was Game Explained, going frame by frame, analyzing the the teaser that they had sent out. Then they just went on to random games they were publishing that were not Borderlands, that include stuff like Bulletstorm's coming to Switch and blah blah blah. Yeah. Which, by the way, just last week on the Jump Up Supercast Game Club, we played Bulletstorm, so it's very timely.
I know. It's just the universe keeps lining up with our Game Club.
I know, the Game Club, this is like, it's crazy, yeah. So be sure to check that episode out, by the way.
The only podcast endorsed by God.
Then they announced a Borderlands card game, and the way they did that was Randy Pitchford spent 15 minutes doing a magic trick with this Borderlands card game.
Wait, a card game? What the fuck?
There's gonna be a Borderlands card game, and Randy Pitchford did a magic trick because he loves magic.
Wait, is this is a physical thing?
This is, yes, a physical,
okay.
Like like
not
actual,
like Hearthstone or something.
No, like real cards. And then finally they get to actual Borderlands game stuff, but then of course they have technical difficulties. Windows Media Player stops working. You hear someone in the crowd yell, "Use VLC." So it was a big mess. It was a mess of a stream, to be honest. And then they finally played the trailer, but then they played it again because they
played the trailer, but it wasn't even Borderlands 3. It was Borderlands 1.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Borderlands 1 is coming to PS4, Xbox One, PC, and of course Borderlands 3. So Borderlands 3, I want to talk about that game. Let's talk about that game. So from what I've heard, I'm not someone who's played Borderlands. Both of you have, so you have a little bit more to say about it. So I'll give the floor to you in a sec. But from what I can tell, and from what I've heard, read on the internet, whatnot, it seems to look pretty iterative from Borderlands 2. And both graphically and just like in terms of what the game is. And I think coming from a 7-year break from Borderlands, that feels a little weird, doesn't it?
A little bit.
I don't know that I want anything more from Borderlands, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's kind
the
of
same
like
way.
Perfect the way it is. Like, I just want more of that. More characters, different abilities. Okay. That's what they're giving me, so that's what I want. And we're going off-world this time, I believe. We're finally get the fuck off Pandora.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I gotta say, just that trailer alone showed a lot of different locales that were unique and new looking for at least the series, which was really exciting for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, a lot of different, like, biodomes and stuff that looks like you get to explore that. Usually you think of Pandora and it's just like a barren wasteland most of the time.
Yeah.
And then neon cityscape, that looked pretty sweet.
So you guys are into it. That's far.
I'm super into it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because the art style lends itself to, like, it's not hyper realistic graphics, so I don't think it's more.
There's
like
only so much
cel-shaded.
there's only so much you can do to really make it look better before it's like you've kind of maxed out the potential of this art style.
Yeah, or differ the art style completely, which I wouldn't want. Not from Borderlands, no.
Right.
So I think it's cool. I'm into the character designs that we've seen so far for the new characters and classes.
Yeah.
I think they look cool, and I saw a lot of returning characters in there, which is interesting. And even the Tales of the Borderlands characters. There, which is really cool too.
What's that dude's name? I always forget.
I can't remember his name either. I keep wanting to call him Vincent, but I don't think that's his name.
So that's something else I caught. It does seem like the story of Tales from the Borderlands plays into Borderlands 3 a lot, which is interesting.
The story of Tales from Borderlands already meshes well with the other games.
Right.
So I mean, it's good that they kept it in there. I mean, they have no reason not to keep it in there.
Right.
It all fits together perfectly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They've done a really good job over their games, including even the pre-sequel. I know a lot of people give a shit, but
it's a good game.
just world building with all these characters and how they interact and overflow to the other games, and their actions and stuff affects what's going on in the other games. I think it's really cool. I've always really liked it, so it looks like it's more of that, so it's great.
Yeah, and the way that part 2 kind of upped the ante from part 1, there was like so many more enemies, different kinds of enemies. Like the storyline was way more epic, way more involved. It was like an actual storyline rather than the first one. Yeah. So I mean, if they can expand other ways rather than graphically, you know what I mean? So
and so I'm hearing pretty good things. I'm curious about gameplay wise if there's any like big additions. I think the biggest thing, I get it, like you just want more of Borderlands, but also because it's been so long, I guess it's there's this built up expectation for a lot of people, and I wonder if that plays into like kind of the general reaction it's been getting.
It might be, but I mean, personally, as a big Borderlands fan, I'm very pleased.
Yeah, okay. I'm just excited to see where the story goes, and I'm excited to see new characters. I like the new Siren so far. I want to see all the characters get more of their introductions out, so we can see what they do.
Right.
Same.
Okay. Any last words on Borderlands before we move on?
It's hype.
All right, and we should be hearing more about it next week, April 4th or so. I forget the exact date.
April 3rd.
April 3rd. Okay, yeah. So April 3rd. So maybe next week, if there's enough to talk about, we can bring it up again next week. But yeah. So looks like more to come, and it's coming this year, right? 2019. So
did they confirm that?
I don't know.
They confirmed that.
Huh?
I don't think I saw a date.
Oh, okay.
At the end of that
I thought I had heard that. Maybe not. Okay. So who knows when it's out? I would assume this year, though. It feels like it would be this year, but we'll find out soon enough. Okay. Well, Nintendo. We got some more Nintendo news. I know, surprise, the podcast that names itself after a song in Super Mario Odyssey. So Nintendo. So this comes from the Wall Street Journal, and we talked about a little bit about this like late last year, September, October-ish. There was a rumor from Takashi Mochizuki, that a revision to the Nintendo Switch hardware was coming in 2019, as early as summer. He has come back and said, not only is there a revision coming, there's 2 revisions coming. Which, ooh la la, right? That's very interesting. And then Eurogamer comes in and backs it up, saying, hey, we've heard this independently from our own sources, and they elaborated a little bit more on it. So let me break it down to you. So there's going to be 2 models, right? One model is going to be targeted towards a more budget-oriented audience. It's going to be more handheld focused. It's going to be apparently a little bit beefier to, I don't know if beefier is the right word, but more kid-friendly is what it's described as.
More sturdier.
Yeah, sturdier.
That's a good word.
It's going to apparently remove any sort of HD rumble as a cost-cutting measure. And here's the kicker. So this actually comes from Eurogamer specifically. Wall Street Journal did not mention this part. But according to Eurogamer, the smaller model will be handheld only, which means no docking this thing, right?
And did they? I thought they said no removable Joy-Cons, right?
I don't know if I don't think they specified that exact part, but they. Okay. I believe that part was speculation, but
weird.
Yeah. So
Well-
so this is weird. This is a little weird. So let's talk about that smaller one first. So
Let's
first
call
of all,
that model the 2DS.
yes.
Let's call that the not Switch.
Yeah.
Because that just defeats the purpose of the name Switch.
Yeah, I mean maybe. Actually, well, hold on. Actually, let me get
Well,
into
does the 2DS defeat the purpose of the 3DS?
Well, that's called the 2DS. I mean, so there you go.
I mean, so see, here's the problem I have here, right? Is I removing 3D was one thing because like I feel like most people didn't use it anyway, and it was always an optional feature, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think with the Switch, if you remove the ability for even tabletop mode, that breaks compatibility with certain games, including Super Mario Party, which is a big, like, 5 million selling game that they plan to continue selling for years on, you know? So completely breaking compatibility with a big game like that seems really strange to me. I don't know. Well, what do you guys think?
I mean, I imagine the amount of games affected by that would be super small, so I don't know if that would deter them necessarily.
Sure, and I think like something like Labo is whatever, right? Like I imagine they'll just stop shipping new Labo units, right? So like, and it's not like it was a big success in the first place. But I don't know how you communicate this at retail. You know, like how does a GameStop tell a consumer, hey, this doesn't work with certain games? You know, like I don't.
Well, I
don't
imagine they do that by the name. Whatever they name it will be. Well, hopefully they name it something specific and obvious to show the consumer, this one is different.
This one, right.
Yeah. So there's no confusion and no disappointed people if they buy it.
Yeah. So okay, well, we'll see how that goes. It presumably will be fairly cheaper than the current Switch, at least $249, if not cheaper. Then we have the other one, which is seemingly going to be a replacement of the Switch we have right now. It is going to be targeted at a more core demographic. It'll still be a hybrid. You can still dock it. It'll come with a dock and everything. Supposedly that there's a power boost here, so it's a little bit stronger. The comparison made was to the new 3DS, so it won't be as big of a jump as the PS4 Pro was, but rather just something like a little extra, probably just to get games running a little bit better in handheld mode. You know, a lot of games right now have trouble running at 720p, so I imagine this will help a lot with that. Otherwise, yeah, better screen, stuff like that. Just more core-oriented features. So,
sounds good. I mean, I got no problem with this.
It basically sounds like a new 3DS, right? Where it's like it's just like a slight jump, completely replaces the original model. Well,
I mean, this whole thing is still rumor.
Yeah.
So
complete rumor.
And it's a weird thing, this whole Switch revision thing, because I've seen so many rumors, but on the opposite side, even some of them. Mm-hmm. Where Nintendo has no interest in it, those kind of rumors as well. So it's who knows what to believe.
No, I mean I do want to give credit. Wall Street Journal is like extremely reputable. They are
I'm hearing this one's probably the most solid. Rumor that we've got.
Right.
So, but still, there's it's still a rumor at the end of the day. But I think.
But like, so if this is the strategy, what do you think of it? So basically, it seems like they're going the 3DS route, right? Where they have one lower budget model, like child-friendly thing, right? That removes some features, and then they have the more like, hey, here's for your core gamers, whatever, right?
Yeah. Well, fine. I mean, I think it's cool as long as they make it obvious to the consumer exactly what's going on. But I think they will. Yeah.
I mean, I guess I want to ask, are you upset about a revision? Are you like, and do you feel cheated at all? Do you feel...
No, I mean, if I'm still able to play all the same games, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not for me, it's for anybody else who wants it, so...
Yeah, it's for somebody who doesn't have one, maybe I'd upgrade, who knows, but, it's not really that big of a deal for me. And people that would be like, oh, well, already? Well, it's not really already. I mean, the 3DS had revisions way faster.
Oh, yeah, I mean, GBA, DS, 3DS, all these things had revisions very quick into its life cycle. Like the 3DS XL came out about 18 months after launch, and this would be well after 2 years at this point, right?
Yeah. So it's not a big deal. It seems fine, and it seems like the time to do it.
Yeah. The budget model seems interesting. It seems like a good way to get around doing a price cut, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Rather than
yeah.
cutting the price of what you have right now, just introduce a cheaper model.
Yeah.
Seems interesting. Yeah, and I mean, this should be a good thing to go along. I think the smaller model in particular will be a good thing to go along with, like, Animal Crossing and Pokemon in particular, right?
Yeah,
Two games that are gonna
franchises
after
that people
a
are
much-
used to playing on the go. And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So sounds cool. So apparently coming as soon as summer. So I mean, when do you guys think we'll see this thing?
Like May.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe June.
I wonder. So if they're launching, because traditionally Nintendo likes to launch these revisions with a game, right? Like they like to put a game alongside it. I wonder if Super Mario Maker will come alongside the revisions. Feels like a good little launch game.
Yeah, when the hell's that game coming out again?
June. Come on, June.
Yeah.
So. And weirdly, Super Mario Maker doesn't have a release date, whereas the games that are coming after Super Mario Maker do have a release date. So I wonder if that plays into it. Maybe
That might be why.
Yeah.
So they can. Maybe they're planning. They don't have a date set for the revisions yet, and they just want to have it the same day as Mario.
They definitely want to launch Mario Maker on the same day. Yeah, I mean, who knows? We'll see. All right, so that's the revision. Maybe we'll have more concrete stuff to talk about in the near future. Otherwise, Apple. So Apple had a conference this week, Monday. And, as Apple goes, there's a lot of stuff not related to gaming. But there was something that would be of interest to us. So they announced Apple Arcade, which is a subscription service. Basically, the pitch for this subscription service is, hey, the mobile game, and this is my words, not theirs, just to be clear. But, the mobile market's kind of a mess right now, right? A lot of very microtransaction heavy, grubby games out there,
Right now, it has been for years.
Yeah. So basically, the pitch of this service is, hey, you're going to pay us X amount. They didn't detail how much we were paying, but you're going to pay us X amount every month, and we will give you a selection of high-quality games. None of these games will have microtransactions. None of these games will have ads. You can play all of these games offline. There's no extra monetization of any kind here going on. It's purely just like, hey, you download the game, and like you have the whole game to it, They're promising a lot of very interesting creators being on board with this, including Hironobu Sakaguchi, the creator of Final Fantasy, is making a game for the service. WayForward, this is another announcement, might as well quickly talk about it.
I saw that.
Announced that Shantae 5 is coming, and it will be part of this Apple Arcade service.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
I wanted to get excited about that on another announcement, just on its own, but I guess, here we are.
Well, we can take a quick aside, quick brief mention of Shantae. So what do you think, Brandon? You love Shantae.
Very fucking excited.
Yeah.
I love Shantae. Man, I love the series. So I wasn't even sure if there was ever going to be another one, because the fourth one had to be Kickstarter, and this one's not.
Yeah, this one's not, and I think that's very important to note. So it's very cool.
Yeah. Which is good.
Yeah.
And, they're not struggling. They don't need the fans' help anymore, which is good. I guess the game must have done really financially pretty good. So here we are, Shantae 5.
Shantae 5.
Where is the 5? I'm very excited. They also announced another game for Apple Arcade. It's like some shooter with like dinosaurs and stuff, which I was like, oh, that looks really cool.
WayForward did?
Play it. WayForward did, yeah.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. I'll look it up for a second if you want to keep talking about other games.
Yeah, and so two games, if you remember, we saw them at the Game Awards a few months back. Sayonara Wild Hearts, which is also coming to Switch, that's going to be on there. The creator of Abzu, I forget what the game is called, but the creator of Abzu, his next game, their next game is going to be on this platform. And they've even promised stuff like Team Sonic Racing and the next game from Platinum. So like it's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, there's
Sega jumped out to me as somebody who would jump on this shit, because they're just gonna release like all their fucking
well, of course,
Sega Genesis games.
Yeah.
I could just second you said it was one of the first things that popped into my head. But yeah, so WayForward announced Spider Soars.
Oh, okay.
Which looks really fucking cool from the artwork they showed off. I love the artwork so far, and I'm like, damn it, I really want to play this game. I don't like own anything Apple to play it on,
right?
Which sucks because it looks. I mean, all we got was a picture, but it looks really cool.
Wait, so Are
Time
these
to pick up an
games
iPad.
exclusive to the
So a lot of these
subscription,
games
or-
will be exclusive to iOS devices. Yes.
I mean to the subscription or to just
So
the-
that is unclear. Actually, that is very unclear if you're going to be able to buy these games separately or if you have to have the subscription.
Yeah, because it seems weird. Like, okay, they're just gonna curate the store for you.
They call them exclusive. So I imagine that means exclusive to the service then. But who knows? We don't know the. Like I said, it's coming out this fall, so like details are still pretty scarce. I imagine when they have their fall iPhone conference, they'll talk about this a lot more. But
Did they give a price?
no really just no details besides talking about we want quality games. We're going after these quality creators, and we want to foster an environment of games that doesn't have extra monetization, right? So I guess so the biggest thing to talk about here is Apple is clearly very interested in curating more quality content for gaming on iPhone, right?
Right.
So like, what do you guys think about that? What do you think about this push to? Do you think it'll be successful? Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think like
I think it's an interesting move to capitalize on their game store. Actually put some effort into it rather than just having it open. You know what I mean?
Yeah, something that I've been hoping for a long time. I mean, the complaint I always have about mobile games is that they are cash grabs, that they are soulless. That there's no effort, that it's over flooded with crap.
Yeah.
So to see an effort put in is good. I still don't own any Apple products to play any of this on, so
yeah. He's a rebel.
Time to pick up an iPad.
I guess I would rather pick up an iPad than an iPhone. But I don't know. Maybe an Apple TV if you can play them on your TV. If there's any way to do that, I'd rather do that.
Oh, true. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Whether it's successful or not, that's really going to be hard to tell.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if people want to pay. I mean, most of those games are free to play, right? So
yes, yeah,
you have to have some kind of
so
investment in the game before they actually want to pay anything for it. So
it'll be interesting to see if this disrupts the market in any way. I mean, though, to Apple's credit, right? They have a huge install base to play off of, right?
Yeah,
huge install base. And if anyone's going to be able to push something like this, I would imagine it would be Apple having their own service, right? I think that makes it easier to push that kind of games. But we'll see. I mean, I like that they're pushing for games to be made on iPhone that are quality, because it's a lower barrier of entry. It's a lower barrier of entry for developers, and just to make unique. Sure, obviously you can't do things you would do on a traditional controller, but I think that there's games you can make on a phone that you wouldn't necessarily be able to make otherwise.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool. I hope this succeeds. And we don't know how they're paying developers or anything. Hopefully that's a fair thing too. That's very important, of course. But yeah, I mean, I hope this actually works. I guess is what I'm saying. Is I hope we start to see a bigger focus on quality without having these nasty microtransactions on the store. But we'll see. Looking forward to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have like a sense that anybody who's not on the curated list might be upset. It's kind of like, I don't know, not as free, like a free market anymore.
Sure. I mean, but yeah, those games you can still put it on the App Store, right? It won't be up on the Apple service, but yeah.
I don't know. It's probably nothing. Who knows?
We'll see. Well, yeah. But yeah, that's that. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about the PlayStation State of Play. So, Monday, same day, PlayStation did basically, let's call it what it is. It was a Nintendo Direct, right? It had the headlines format. It had you could see what was coming next with the voiceover talking about each game.
There was a lot of VR. Holy shit.
A lot of VR. Yeah, so let's get into it. So, I mean, right off the bat, I want to say that the reception to this has been pretty bad, right? People have been pretty negative about it, and I think it's because of the content, right? The content that was in this show was, quite frankly, I mean, if you didn't own a PSVR, you basically had 3 games shown in that entire thing, So, I don't know. So they opened with Iron Man VR, and I think this is the announcement that got the biggest flack, because when we first saw it, we see Marvel, and your first instinct, I think, for a lot of people is this the Avengers game? Like, oh my god, are they opening this thing with the Avengers, Square Enix's Avengers game? No. Then you see Iron Man, and you're like, oh, okay, oh my god, well, Sony just did Spider-Man, right? Sony just did a big budget Spider-Man game. Are they doing that for Iron Man now? And it's a pretty cheap looking VR
You know, I didn't
game.
think of it like that, but now that I think about it, yeah, that's not great.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought it was pretty cool to see Iron Man in VR, but yeah, if people were actually thinking like a real Iron Man game, holy shit. That's a huge letdown.
Especially because like it doesn't look like there's much depth to this, right? Because like in theory, Iron Man in VR is cool, right? But I feel like what they showed looked pretty mediocre. Like I don't know. Like,
yeah. I mean, I imagine we only saw a very small portion of it, but you know, hopefully the game has more to it than just shooting things out of the sky.
Shooting things in the clouds, yeah. For what it's worth, the box art is Iron Man in the clouds. Whoa, so I don't know how many more environments we'll be seeing besides.
It's constantly getting back on the plane and it's blowing up.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how that turns out. But otherwise, and so the big closer they had was so the Concrete Genie is coming out in fall 2019, so it got a delay. There is a PSVR mode now. Surprise. Then they did a Days Gone story trailer, and then they closed with Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh, they also did Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, so Five Nights at Freddy's VR is coming out. That's a thing.
That's kind
of No Man's Sky VR.
Good thing for VR. Yeah, No Man's Sky is getting a big VR mode. I mean, not even just the mode. You can play the entire game in VR, which is pretty cool.
That's kind of cool. But I
think but there's the problem, right? It's all VR, right? It's almost entirely all VR. And PlayStation VR, they just announced that same day that PlayStation VR has sold about 4.2 million units. To put that into perspective, that's less than 5% of the install base.
What's their install base at?
So you're
pretty small.
It's about 90 million. So like you are advertising to a very small group, you know? Like it's like Microsoft's Kinect focus last gen, but at least with Kinect they sold about 30 million of those things. You know,
packaging
versus
wasn't it part of the oh no, it wasn't.
No. Well, and there might have been
eventually, but Kinect sold a lot. Even as a standalone, Kinect sold a lot, and it just feels.
Yeah, I think Kinect Adventures or whatever the game that came with it was like might have been the highest selling Xbox game just because.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I think it was the best selling Xbox exclusive, which is hilarious. But see, and I think, and I hate to do this, right? But I do feel like a lot of the games, a lot of those PSVR games, don't look like they have that much more depth than a Kinect game, you know? Like, it just... a lot of these seems like novelty experiences to me, you know?
Right.
Yeah,
And this is coming from someone who has a PSVR, you know? But, like, none of these games will... Personally, for me, none of these games are going to get me to put on that headset, you know? It's like, I don't know.
Right. I mean, I've thought about buying a PSVR, multiple times, but one, I don't have a Pro. Which you need a Pro, right?
No, you don't need a Pro, but it's a lot better with a Pro.
Well, that, and you know, I don't.
It's expensive.
The money.
It's expensive. It's expensive. You know, I mean,
I just can't justify it for myself for something that I would be like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I don't know. It's not. To me, it's not worth the money.
Like, I personally bought it last fall, right? Because it was $200 and it came with 2 games, right? And one of those games is actually one of my favorite games released last year, Astrobot Rescue Mission. Yeah. But besides Astrobot, truth be told, I haven't really found much to be excited about on the platform. And I don't know, it just seems like a weird thing. Do you think that there's anything wrong with the format necessarily of State of Play?
No, I think they just fucked up and just why would they put their first episode on only VR stuff? I guess they had nothing else to hype up or something. I don't know.
I mean, I guess, and if you look at their lineup, they have Days Gone coming in April, and then they don't have anything until Concrete Genie. So clearly that's part of it, right? I just think in 2019 they don't have the content. So like me personally, I like the format. I like I mean, they literally copied a Nintendo Direct, and I don't think that's wrong. I don't think that's a bad thing because it works, right?
Sony.
What else is new?
Well, yeah.
It's you know, Water is gonna be wet.
Well, yeah, but no, but like I do think it's a good format, to show off games. But I think that the content they showed was pretty bad. And the other thing is, I feel like Sony's messaging. I want to talk about that for a little bit, because they announced much before this show that, hey, we're skipping E3, right? We're not going to be E3. The last time we heard from them was last E3, right? And so they come back to us 9 months later. We haven't heard from them at all in 9 months, and then this is the content they have to show us. It feels a little disappointing, It feels like, hey, what was? I guess all that silence was because you literally just have nothing for the coming year.
Right.
Yeah. So it's Sony's in a weird place, and I'm curious to see if they will continue these state of. They did say they plan on continuing doing these. I don't know if the negative reception will.
I mean, it just seems like they've checked out
they...
of the PS4 and they're just waiting for the PS5 by now.
Yeah, kind of biding their time until. And another weird thing is Dreams Early Access comes out next month.
Oh, why didn't they show that?
They did not talk about Dreams. Isn't that so bizarre? Yeah, so like I don't know, like even their own games, it's like, why you have some games to show, but you're not. It's just, I don't know. Sony's in a weird place. So yeah, wanted to talk real quick about State of Play.
It's a
other than that,
format. I don't know. They fucked up.
Yeah, so I personally like I said, I like the format. You like the format. It's fast, right? It's like they quickly, very good pacing, right? Like which they nailed that, but it's just they need the content to back it up, I guess.
Yeah. Which I think they'll have eventually. It's just they're right now. It's just they're right at the end of the PS4, and they just don't care.
Yeah,
what they got is what they got. They're not doing anything extra, and they're just, I think, focusing completely on the PS5.
But on the other hand,
being quiet about it.
But on the other hand, they have 3 big PS4 exclusives coming up, right? In Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, and Death Stranding.
I mean, that's true. Well, Death Stranding.
Are these?
I don't know.
Are these coming out this year? I forget.
No, they haven't said. I mean, I think that's
is Last of Us 2 not coming out?
We don't know. That's the thing. We don't
Jesus
know.
Fucking Christ.
And I feel like at least giving a little nudge about where the last. I think it's weird that last E3 they had a 20-minute gameplay demo or whatever, right? And then we just see nothing since then. We have no idea when it's coming out. We know nothing about that game. Isn't that? It's just a weird place to be, don't you think?
I don't understand what they're doing.
Yeah. So, wanted to quickly talk about that. Anyway, let's move on. Yacht Club Games announced a brand new game. So they're not making this; they're publishing this, and they are kind of assisting with it, right? But they're not the primary developers.
Right. Yeah. They're doing publishing stuff now, which is interesting.
So it's called Cyber Shadow, right? It's a 8-bit Ninja
Gaiden. It's
Ninja game.
Gaiden.
It's basically
Ninja Gaiden. It's also the Messenger.
The Messenger just came out. It's very similar to that.
I feel like the Messenger is less action oriented than this game. I don't know why.
Yeah, this definitely seems to be more leaning into the action part, right?
Yeah,
looks cool. Though.
Yeah,
it looks good. Yeah, and I think it's cool. I just want to talk about Yacht Club Games for a second. What do you guys think about this kind of new strategy going forward? They're clearly leveraging their name, their popularity that they got with Shovel Knight, right? To kind of give a spotlight to other games. I mean, that's right. That they think is cool.
I think that's super smart. I think
it's cool.
I like it a lot. I just want I want all the games to get their proper due. All the good games rise to the top. And this is how we do it. Yeah, and I think it's good, right? That they're. I mean, obviously they make money off of it, but I think it's good to kind of leverage their brand to be like, hey, like we're basically the best at 8-bit platformers, right? So putting our seal of quality on something means it's something good, right? Essentially.
Yeah. That's.
Yeah, I mean, cool. Indies probably have a hard time getting noticed if they're not, showcased hard on like an Indies or something like that. So it's good to have multiple ways of propping up indie games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's cool to see Yacht Club and Chucklefish kind of like leverage their names to like go into publishing. I think that's just a very interesting thing.
That's not all the indie games we have to talk about today.
The Microsoft.
Oh yeah, because
ID
Xbox Xbox did an idea Xbox little video, about a 12-minute video, showed a bunch of very cool indie games, including Swery's The Good Life, which will be on Game Pass day one.
Yeah, is that the one with the cat?
Yes,
right?
that is the one with the cat.
Cats and dogs? It's a bunch of pets, right?
Well, primarily cats are the focus, but there are dogs too.
As they should. As they should be against that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so clearly Xbox is very interested in doing their own little indie showcase kind of thing, right?
Which is also very cool.
Yeah.
It helps a bunch of indie games get noticed. And I was really digging some of the ones they showed off. The Chrome something, I can't remember what it was. It was one of the last ones they showed. Looks very controversial.
Oh, yeah.
16-bit like
cool.
shooter. That looks cool. And they have they're going to be at PAX as well, and all these games I guess are going to be there, and you can go, if you go play them, you get like a pin. You can collect a pin for each game.
The one that looked super cool was to me was Void Bastards. It had like a super stylized first person shooter. Everything was kind of like
that looked really cool. I was loving the art
gorgeous.
style in that game. Yeah, there was like a shopping cart one too that looked kind of fun.
Yeah, that one looked really fun. Yeah, it was like
This is some cool stuff they're showing off.
Yeah, so definitely, it's nice to see. I was just about how Yacht Club leveraging their brand, right? But like we've seen it with Nintendo, we've talked at length about it with Nintendo. But it's good to see Xbox is also doing the same, right? Of hey, like we want to put a spotlight on these smaller games, these games that you may not have noticed otherwise. I will say the view count for this thing is not high. Not a lot of people really tuned in. But hopefully, as these things become a more regular thing, maybe more people will take note. Hopefully more people will.
Definitely. I think all the games they talked about, were they just going to be all Game Pass day ones?
I don't recall specifically. I just caught a couple of them for sure, but yeah.
Well, if you listen to this podcast, check it out because lots of indie games.
Yeah, so
I don't think they're Xbox exclusives either. So if you don't maybe you don't own Xbox, but you're interested, they're probably coming to other consoles as well.
Maybe the Switch one day.
Too, so. Maybe, who knows?
And to bring it back to State of Play real quick, I feel like that's part of my disappointment with State of Play is like theoretically it's a really good place to get a lot of eyes on smaller indie games, right? But it seemed like the only indie games that Sony was deemed worthy of being in their show was if they had a VR mode, Right. And I don't know if I like that. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they've really kind of, lost the focus on VR really.
Yeah.
Or not VR,
indies. Yeah. It just, in general, they seem less and less interested as the years go on at showing like smaller, especially indie content, Like, just a few years back, they stuck Undertale in a pre-show, And it was like, hey, this is the first console that Undertale is coming to. That's a big deal, And no, they stuck it in a pre-show, and even Spelunky 2, and Guacamelee 2, which were huge announcements, and they just stuck them randomly. Like they didn't do any job promoting them. I feel like that's. I wish Sony would also do this, but whatever. What can you do, right? Anyway, I have one last bit of news for today. And that is a rumor. A juicy rumor.
Is this really the final piece of news?
Yum.
Unless did I miss one?
Never mind.
From last week. Yeah. Last week I said the final piece of news like 7 times. Yeah.
No, but we had six pieces of news that were the last.
Yeah. But no. This is the last piece of news. A juicy rumor. Quite frankly, Will didn't want to talk about it, but I thought it was too hilarious not to talk about. Disclaimer, most of this could be complete bullshit. But From Software, there's a rumor about From Software and their next game. So apparently, supposedly, it is an open world game. The structure was kind of likened to Mega Man in that there's multiple kingdoms. You can go to them in any order, and when you beat the boss of that kingdom, you take their power. And here's the juiciest part about it. It's being written, supposedly, by George R.R. Martin, famously known for
He can't even finish his goddamn
of Ice and Fire.
Why does he have to
or
write a
also known as Game of
Fuck.
Thrones.
Fucking finish your books. This better not be true.
I had you read those books, right?
Read, the ones that have come out. Yeah.
You've read that have come out. Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring it up because how do you feel about big old George
He's gonna
possibly?
fucking die. He's not gonna finish the story. I don't understand, man.
Instead of finishing his book, he's writing a video game for some goddamn reason. Now, of
Everything
course,
but the book is what he's doing.
Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. In general, though, what do you think about the concept of this game? An open world from software game seems kind of crazy.
Of course, I mean, yes, I want it. Of course, from software, anything, give it to me now.
But open world is new for them, so that's weird.
What's
right?
up? Oh yeah. I mean, Dark Souls is, kind of open worldish. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think being able to go in any direction, order, basically.
I mean,
it's definitely different from Software's usual output.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. And
supposedly
I like they do so far. I just want them to keep making games.
Also, I feel like they're pretty good at writing lore for their games themselves. So I don't really get why they would need George R.R. Martin to do that for them.
I mean, they're good at writing lore, but are they good at storytelling?
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, okay. Maybe George will help them out with that.
I mean, they have a bunch of hints, but you have to piece it together, and it's a lot of work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they don't...
Whereas this one will be like a little bit more, not in your face, but like
narrative driven, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? And obviously George R. R. Martin is known to write very expansive, lore for these things. Like, I mean, people lap up Game of Thrones for a reason, right?
Masochism.
Yeah. So it sounds cool. Rumor sounds interesting. It was too crazy not to talk about, in my opinion. But yeah. And published by Bandai Namco and supposedly being revealed as soon as E3.
Okay.
So
do we want to talk about Monolith hiring for the next Zelda game? Or?
Oh sure, yeah, we can sneak that in there. So Monolith Soft is hiring for the next Zelda game, and you may be like, "What?
Hire me
for what?
Why Monolith Soft?" But Monolith Soft, to be fair, does support for the Zelda games, right? So it's basically just confirmation. Hey, Monolith Soft is once again working on the next Zelda game with EPD, with Aonuma's team.
It's probably going to be big,
and. It's probably going to be big. If they need Monolith Soft's expertise, I would assume that it's going to be a pretty big production.
Yeah, they love an open world, so.
And surprise, another Zelda game's coming, right? So
Zelda. Infinite Zeldas.
I would assume it's in the style of Breath of the Wild, right? I feel like that's a safe
I can't
assumption.
have enough Zelda in my life. You can shove Zelda down my throat until I'm puking, and I will love every second.
To be fair, I think a lot of the Zelda we've gotten on Switch so far, Breath of the Wild, Link's Awakening, and Cadence of Hyrule, very, very different from each other. Yeah. So
yeah, very cool.
Yeah,
very good stuff.
But it seems like presumably this would be a follow-up to Breath of the Wild, and maybe this hiring means it's coming sooner than we think.
It's a follow-up to Skyward Sword. Surprise.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Anyway, so that is the news. We are done for that. Now let's move on to our final segment of the podcast.
The list.
The list.
Was that enthusiastic enough for you?
You did your best.
It was better.
I did the best I could. So the list this week. By the way, you could follow along in the paste bin below.
Thank you very much.
So this week, Ills is adding a game to the list. Ills, you wanna go ahead?
Well, in honor of Borderlands 3 being announced, I will add Borderlands 1. Borderlands.
I can't take part in this.
I knew it, but I mean, I had to do it, so I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't just light against me. It's fine. It's topical. It's topical. Yeah. All right, so Borderlands. Tell me a little bit about Borderlands.
It's a first-person RPG. You very much choose all your abilities for your characters. There's 4 characters you can choose from. They're all wildly different, but the the main gameplay is first person shooter, and yeah, you basically go through a wasteland, discovering all these, trying to find this hidden vault to unlock, riches and treasure and all this shit. So, your basic adventure treasure hunter story. And as you start the game, it's kind of like when I first played this game, I got bored of it because I didn't really get it because I only played a little bit of it. But the more you play it, the more it opens up. You get a huge feel for the characters, for the world. It's very cheeky. The whole world is very like, it's funny and it's morose at the same time. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's cool. Brandon, you want to say anything about it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of cool things that you meet along the way. The enemies are cool, and they keep ramping them up. You keep getting tougher, cooler, different enemies.
Your powers, your powers get scale so fucking you get amazing powers by the end. So you're killing like swaths of enemies.
Yeah, you get a skill tree. Yeah, the more you play, the more
multiple
you unlock
skill trees per character.
More,
so you can customize your character however you want.
Yeah, not every two sirens will be the same, and vice versa, and a lot of different mixing of the different abilities on the skill tree that you can bring up some interesting things.
Yeah,
lots of weapon variety with
huge amount.
They say gazillions of guns, because all the loot is randomly generated. So there's tons of different weapons you can get. Lots and lots and lots
different
of
kinds of all the weapons are like valued differently, like in a World of Warcraft, rarity scale. There's a 4-player multiplayer.
I
think it's only
the whole story.
It's only local for the first one, right? Or is it online too?
No, you can play online with the first game. Yeah, you can play local or online. The game is most fun when you're playing with other people, and man, it's a blast. Going around. There's vehicles you can drive around in.
Yeah,
going from one mission to the next.
Of memorable characters like Claptrap, Scooter, Mad Moxie, Tannis.
Mad Moxie was DLC, I believe, but yeah.
No, I mean I think she was in the regular game, but like her Underdome was DLC.
Was she? I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was.
But yeah, there is lots of really cool characters that you meet along the way. And I will say the second game blows this game out of the water. I know we're not, putting that game on. It's not on the list, but this game's not without it. It does a lot. It lays the foundation. There's some noticeable things that I had problems with the first one. One of the things that used to drive me nuts about the first game was no mini map. In that game, so you would have to. You got this little like compass that would show you like where the objectives were, and you'd have to kind of like follow the compass.
Right.
But in the sequel, there's a heads up display little mini map that was just a godsend on figuring out where the hell to go. You could open up a map in the in the first game to look at it, but sometimes trying to figure out exactly where your objective was kind of a pain in the ass in the first game because of that.
But at the same time, I feel like I learned those levels like so much more because I had to learn them.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, not that that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just something that happened.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my biggest complaints of the first game was no mini-map. That just used to drive me nuts.
The DLC is amazing in the first game.
The DLC is great. I love the DLC in that game. The game is very, packed with content, and the DLC was also very good value. Lots of extra hours packed in there.
Yeah.
I got every single achievement on this game, like every single one. Right. All the DLC, everything.
Yeah, the DLCs are so good. The Secret Armory of General Knox. The Zombie Island of Dr. Ned.
Yeah, there was a Claptrap one too, right?
Yeah. The Viva la Revolution.
Yeah, and then Mad Moxie's Underdome though was the worst
weakest
one.
Yeah,
was awful. It was just like a bunch of arenas that you had to do.
Yeah, Yeah,
and
it was trash.
To get the achievements in that one, oh man, dude, I just had to turn off the sound, put on some of my own music, and just go drone for like a good fucking 10 hours.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, that's definitely the worst one. But the rest of it is so fucking good.
Very, very good. I love this game a lot.
Yeah, so do I.
I love the second one even more, but this game, it was just a fucking blast, dude, when it came out. I remember the first night I played it.
The worst thing about the game is the story. Because there is isn't one.
And that's where the second one really shines too, right? Because the first one, the story is really forgettable. Lots of cool characters, but it's just like the whole get to the vault thing.
Yeah,
was just kind of bland.
Yeah, and then it's just subverted. You don't really get anything from the vault. That's just a big monster.
Yeah.
So you kind of feel cheated.
Yeah,
a little bit.
There was the revelation of like the aliens, but even then, it was just kind of like blah.
Yeah. But the environments were really cool, and the gameplay was fucking crisp.
Was so good.
So I have to ask, Ills, where do you plan on putting Borderlands?
I'm looking at the 20s. Like maybe above Okami.
Ooh, so I haven't played Borderlands, so like obviously I can't like go into it too much. But Okami is really good.
I know. You want to talk about Okami?
No, but I mean, like, I don't know. Brandon, where are you feeling? Let me ask.
I haven't played Okami really that much. I played it a decent amount, but it's on my list of games to play for a reason for this year, because I never got around to finishing it. I probably played like maybe a third of this game. So like, from what I played, I really do like Okami a lot. But Borderlands really, really hooked me, man. The first day I played it, my friend came over, literally brought his own TV because we didn't feel like doing split screen.
Right. Yeah.
He brought his own TV and just put it on the floor next to my TV, and we were playing it. I'm not even kidding you, dude. We probably played that game for like 10 hours straight. It was like 5 in the morning, and we get to that point where we were just both like hysterically thought everything was the funniest thing in the universe. When you get that tired, and then I was just like, man, you gotta go home, and we gotta go to bed. And he was like, yeah, you're right. So he just like shuts the game off. He's like, I'm gonna leave this here though, right? Because I'm coming back over and we're playing more. I was like, yes, definitely. So it was just, it hooked me. I loved it. It's a very solid game.
Now, okay, so I'm not saying I want it to be this low necessarily, but like to me, the comparison that strikes to Borderlands like the closest is the original Animal Crossing.
What?
And I say this because I feel like no, it sounds nonsensical, but like hear me out. I feel like it obviously it introduced a great franchise, introduced a great concept, and all this, right? But like, I don't know how much you would want to play it today, because
being re-released,
especially with all the improvements made, I feel like, to be fair, part of the reason why we rated Animal Crossing as low as we did is because New Leaf just blows it out of the water, and it's like, how well do you think Borderlands actually holds up in 2019? Not to say it doesn't hold up, but like especially in comparison to a lot of these other games,
I mean, it must hold up good enough on its own for it to be re-released. Now, I wouldn't see Animal Crossing 1 being re-released ever.
This is one of the games that I actually played again, like multiple times with multiple characters. So I was like, I don't know, I'm really into this game. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, even though, like, I don't think the art style ever really goes bad. It's one of those games that's kind of like, it always looks good.
It uses cel-shaded graphics, which we've seen from Wind Waker hold up very well throughout time, because it wasn't going for that ultra realistic look that as graphics get better, it kind of looks worse. So
the one thing I'll say is that it kind of like I was saying before, it kind of starts off a little rough. It's kind of boring in the beginning. It takes a while,
a little bit.
Like after the first like dungeon area, then it starts picking up.
And just see, my sticking point is like stuff like Shovel Knight is like, I mean, that's a really, really good game, like,
yeah. Wow.
Like if it was the second game, I'd be more like whatever about it. But because it's the first Borderlands,
It's
I don't know, it
really
just feels,
good though.
feels a little weird to me personally to put it as high as you are.
For me, at 100 million%, it goes above Punch Out without a doubt.
Okay,
Like, there's
that's
no
fair.
doubt in my mind. But
Sure,
I think it definitely
But
goes above.
I feel like there's an
GoldenEye.
argument.
I think it goes above GoldenEye. I think it goes above Super Mario Brothers. The game's really fucking good.
Yeah, the DLC just knocks it out of the park. Honestly,
Yeah.
But Shovel Knight is really good, and Shovel Knight's DLC. If we're going about DLC,
Well, maybe
Shovel
if
Knight
it all would come out finally. And you know what? I said this on episode 1 because I came up with an idea of that, maybe consolidate a bunch of rankings into one episode that people could listen to. I was re-listening to episode 1, and I said this on episode 1. And I'll say it again. Where the fuck are my amiibos, Yacht Club? Huh?
jeez.
I pre-ordered that bitch like 2 years ago.
Oh boy.
But I mean, Spectre of Torment in particular is like, I would say it's even better than the original game. Like, it's that good. And so like, I don't know, having at least 2 very high quality games basically under the Treasure Trove umbrella is like, I don't know, that's pretty strong,
And also, all the I feel like Borderlands was like the predecessor for like solid DLC that didn't feel like a ripoff.
Yeah, every DLC like feels like an expansion, except for like Underdome.
Yeah. Because except for Underdome wasn't really that great, but like back, I feel like there was a time there where DLCs really feel like a goddamn ripoff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, you ever play like the Force Unleashed DLC?
No.
That was the most shitty shit I've ever played in my life, and I was like, I paid like $8 for this. I beat it in like 20 minutes.
I was like back when DLCs mainly meant like, an extra character or like an extra map. Yeah.
skins.
Yeah, or even like
But Shovel Knight's DLC is free.
Sure, but thanks to Kickstarter, it's a.
But still, I mean, like, I'm telling you, Spectre Torment is basically a second Shovel Knight game that they just
DLC for Shovel
added
Knight,
in there.
I don't know.
And it's I honestly think Spectre Torment is a better game than the original Shovel Knight. And the fact that you have both those and Plague of Shadows in there, and we still have, we can't count this for it yet, of course, but the fact that King of Cards and Battle Mode are coming also sometime this year. Treasure Trove is one of the most content-packed games flat out.
Sure, there's plenty of joy. The game's really great. I mean, it's
a solid. Like, there's nothing I could say negative about Shovel Knight. Like it's just a really very well executed 8-bit platformer.
It is. It is.
With amazing music and they nailed the look of that game, where it's like it looks like an 8-bit game of the NES game, but not like a shitty attempt at one. They nailed how that game.
I mean, I agree 100%. Like we said it when we talked about Shovel Knight before, where like Shovel Knight's like mission to me, it always seemed like it wanted to be a game that would have been one of the best NES games of all time.
And it succeeded.
It did succeed for sure. But if you look at
that's what I'm saying. Like, it feels like
other than Super Mario Bros. No,
there aren't many.
No,
NES
but
games
like, I feel.
No, there's not. But still.
But I really want to put it below Shovel.
Yikes! You didn't play the game.
That's the main problem with your opinion right now is that you didn't play Borderlands, man.
I guess it's true. All right. Well, can we at least get it below Okami?
Why are we saying below Okami? Brandon, Psychonauts better or worse?
Is it better or worse? Man, that's hard.
Yeah, that's what I'm
dude.
thinking.
I loved Psychonauts.
At least compromise with me a little bit. Just a little bit. Like I said, if it was 2, I would have no issue. But the fact that I know that there's a better Borderlands game and just...
Oh, sure. Dude, I would put Borderlands 2.
Borderlands 2 is not being discussed here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but it feels weird to have the game that high. I don't know. It doesn't feel right to
scared
me.
for where Borderlands 2 is going to end up.
It just doesn't feel right to me.
I would put Borderlands 2 like top, like maybe 15. So...
yeah, I could see that.
No.
But
just a little compromise below Okami. I'm begging you.
I don't get you. You haven't even played the game.
I don't understand.
I've seen extensive.
Listen, I've given plenty of compromises here. I didn't put Dark Souls at number 1.
Whatever.
Oh man.
Look,
Brandon, Brandon.
you know,
Psychonauts.
what?
I feel like I want to put it below Psychonauts.
Okay.
I really love Psychonauts.
Yeah. Okay. Psychonauts is a better story. Like a much better story.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, looks like Borderlands is going to be at number 26. So that would put it around. Surrounding it is number 24, Super Smash Bros. Melee. Number 25, Psychonauts. Number 26 is Borderlands. Number 27, Okami HD. And number 28, Super Mario.
You saw how
Brothers.
fast he wanted to wrap that up.
Psychonauts Game Club game, by the way. We played Psychonauts on the Game Club, so if you want to hear us like really talk in depth about how much we actually really did like it, go listen to that episode.
Very true. So, Ills, I'm going to go ahead and give you the final word, actually. Man. I feel like you haven't had it in a little bit. But in the meantime, while you mull over that, I want to talk about where you could find us. So, first of all, with the list, sometimes it may seem a little confusing. Well, just know there's a pastebin below. I mentioned it earlier, but we'll put a description. I will promise on this episode, we're going to put a description in the pastebin of what the list exactly is.
I didn't do it last time. Also, I don't know. I kind of want to just mention, I'm entertaining the idea of doing like a compilation of like the times where we added games to the list in like a couple episodes, in posting them. So that posting them on YouTube and on SoundCloud, and just doing like a playlist. Maybe if you're interested in the lore of the list and how we got to where we got to it, I think that would be kind of cool to do. Just kind of like put them all together. So yeah, if you're interested in that, just like comment, because it might be something I do in the future here.
Yeah, no promises, but it sounds like a good idea. So, like, it'd be a good way to catch up to
exactly
this,
right, without having to like. Because
I can get it. Feels sometimes it's a little overwhelming. Yeah. It's a little. We have almost 100 games on there after all. Anyway, so you can find us though on many platforms. So first of all, we are on SoundCloud. That's where you're going to find the podcast, which you can find us also just in podcast services in general, iTunes, all that stuff. At Jump Up, just search for Jump Up Supercast. We're on YouTube. That's going to be, once again, Jump Up Supercast. Ills has actually been catching up the YouTube channel. We stopped uploading there for a little bit, but we're getting back on there. And then hopefully, like I said, like Brandon said, those list catch-up episodes can be on there. We have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/jumpupsupercast. Sometimes Brandon streams Xenoblade Chronicles, sometimes Will streams Tetris 99. Regardless, you should give us a follow so you can find out whenever one of us is streaming. And of course, our Twitter, twitter.com/jumpupsupercast. This one is important because with this Twitter, you can find out when new podcast episodes go up. You can find out when someone is streaming. You can find out what the next Game Club game is. All sorts of stuff is all on our Twitter. So give that Twitter a follow. Once again, that is at JumpUpSupercast. And
Facebook. We have a Facebook page too.
We have a Facebook too. Facebook and Instagram.
I also do post on there every time I post an episode, so got both.
Yeah, so check us out on Facebook, check us out on Instagram, Jump Up Supercast. With that said, Oh, and finally, one more thing. We have the Jump Up... Not only do we have this Jump Up Supercast, which comes out every single Monday, but every other Thursday, Brandon hosts the Jump Up Supercast Game Club, which we've talked about a couple times now on this episode. But basically, the gang gets together, plays the same game, and talks about it in detail, and adds it to the list.
Yeah.
So if you listen to this podcast and you don't listen to the Game Club, you are missing out on some list segments.
You sure are.
So be sure to check that out. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, you can catch us every Monday for the podcast and every other Thursday for the Game Club. With that said, Ills, take us out.
I think we're all aware that we're all honored to be the Jump Up Supercast is honored to be the official podcast of God and buff women. Fuck white supremacists. We're out.